Shema Yasha'Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achud, Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and are worthy of their double honors. Peace and blessings to you, Akim, pushing out this truth across the four corners during these last seconds of time. Kwam Yasha'Allah, Mighty Shalom. And this lesson is entitled, Acknowledging People or Others who have laid the foundation before you is a part of growth. Acknowledging others who have laid the foundation before you is a part of growth. Lord willing, this must be edifying. And this is based off a Google search that I was going into. Just a question, just asking Google pretty much. Does acknowledging others who laid the foundation before you, for instance, the apostles, the elders, does acknowledging others who laid the foundation before you lead to growth? And here's what it says. It says, acknowledging the contributions of those who came before you is a crucial part of personal and organizational growth. Hence the reason we give the apostles and the elders who rule well and are worthy of their double honors, their double honors. There's a reason that we do that, because that foundation was laid out before us. That reason was laid out before us, that chief cornerstone being Yahweh Shai, all right? But it's rooted in the apostles, the elders, all right? That manna from heaven being Yahweh Shai. So this is 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 10. I'll start at 9. For we are laborers together with God our power. Ye are God's husbandry, ye are God's building. And the scriptures say that Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai dwelleth in us, all right, in our temple, and we are to keep it holy, because ultimately we're the Lord's building. But ultimately that foundation was laid and is rooted in the apostles, the elders, that chief cornerstone being Yahweh Shai Mashiach, the Heavenly Father, through his only begotten Son. So it says, verse 10, according to the grace of God which is given unto me as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation. And this is Apostle Paul, all right? I have laid the foundation, and another builded thereon. But let every man take heed how he builded thereupon, right? So that foundation was laid from the apostles on down to the least of us, just like any other organization where you have a championship organization, an organization that's won titles after titles and is proven, battle-tested, all right? You don't just come into that organization and think that ultimately it's you're the root cause that this thing has been up and running, all right, that it's a well-oiled machine. No, you have to pay respect and acknowledge the attributes, the achievements of those that ultimately came before you. That's a part of, like it says, personal growth, organizational growth, because how are you going to thrive in an environment when you're not acknowledging those that have laid the foundation before you, man? All right, and that can be a stumbling block to many, all right? Coming into this thing and thinking that you've done this on your own or the Lord is dealing with you, man. All right, that's not so. That's not what the scriptures say. So it says, verse 11, for other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Yahweh Shai Mashiach. You see, now if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest. And it says, Revelation, behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with thee, to give every man according to his work. This is Revelation 22:12. And this is Yahweh Shai speaking. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. So you can get a reward for doing good. You can get a reward for doing evil, which is destruction, all right, and indignation. But we want that reward for laboring and suffering for righteousness' sake, man, all right? Not thinking that we did it on our own or we won on our own, all right? That's selfish, all right? That's self-willed. You didn't get this far knowing your nationality, knowing the truth, proper Hebrew names of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you didn't get that far on your own, man. The Lord laid out the foundation, and the apostles and the elders, all right, on down to the least of us. It's a reason that we say that. It's a reason that we give the elders their double honors, who rule well and are worthy of their double honors, all right? The apostles didn't have to go to take a boat, plane, all across the four corners of the earth, but this word did, because it was laid in the proper foundation, with the chief cornerstone being Yahweh Shah Mashiach. Matter of fact, the scriptures tell us that. This is 1 Timothy 4:14. Neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given thee by prophecy. By prophecy. Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old have prophesied against many countries and kingdoms, war, evil, and pestilence. That's Jeremiah acknowledging the prophets that have been before him, all right? The elders, those that rule well, that laid out the foundation for him to come on the scene and prophesy up until these times, man, all right? We're about to get that great victory in Yahweh Shai, man. And when you go into the presbytery, it goes into the elders that was laid on by the hands of the presbytery, all right? Did the apostles actually physically lay their hands on us? Maybe so. But for many, no. All right? But this word did. The foundation that is rooted in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai did, man. All right? 1 Timothy 4:14 in the NLT, and I'll get the word presbytery. It says, do not neglect the spiritual gift you received. You see, we received this. The Lord didn't have to choose us, put us in this position of grace and mercy to say the things that the Lord has commanded us to say, to prophesy against this wicked kingdom, to tell our people their nationality, to seek out the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The Lord said he could raise up these stones, all right, to the children of Abraham, roughly paraphrasing. The Lord don't need us. So a part of us being here is knowing that foundation was laid for us to get here. 1 Timothy 4:14, the NLT, do not neglect the spiritual gift you received through the prophecy spoken over you when the elders of the church laid their hands on you. I get that word presbytery.
Strong's G 4244.
Presbyterian, it says, body of elders, presbytery, synod, council. Right. The synod of the Lord, the council of the Lord. That's what laid the foundation out for us to be here, to know who we are today, to know those names, to know the proper doctrine, the breakdowns, all right? The milk, the meat. It says of the Jewish elders, of the elders of anybody assembly of Christians. And we know Christians mean a follower of Hamashiach. In order to be a Christian, a follower of Hamashiach, you have to be an Israelite. So this is going into our elders of Israel, man, the apostles. It says Strong's definition, the order of elders, Israelite, or Christian presbytery. All right? Christian presbytery. So let's go back. This is Hebrews chapter 5, verse 12. For when for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God, our power, right? The oracles, the prophecies, all right? The breakdowns, the milk, knowing who you are, all right? Knowing who salvation is for, knowing that the law is not done away with, all right? Which is in Yahweh Shai, man. Knowing what faith is, what it means. All of that was laid out through the apostles, through Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. Just like in an organization where you have a hierarchy, those that came before, all right, that laid out the foundation, that like Jake say out here, got it out the mud, okay, that labor, because when you go into the word labor, it goes into suffering. So it says, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God our power, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat. And that's been laid out in the apostles, the milk, all right, knowing who we are. And that's given on to, like it says, verse 13, for everyone that using milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. And we all are pretty much. But you have those that have labored in this thing, undoubtedly, decades upon decades, laid out the foundation for us, babes, to get it, to get this milk, to be nurtured by it, to eventually get the meat, man. That foundation was laid undoubtedly in the apostles, man. So acknowledging that is a part of crucial growth. You're not going to grow if you don't acknowledge what's come before you. You think you're doing it on your own, all right? You're leaning on your own understanding, okay? You think that everything is tailored in your perspective only. No, man. So it says, acknowledging the contributions of those who came before you is a crucial part of personal and organizational growth. This practice fosters gratitude, perspective, and humility by recognizing that your achievements are built on the groundwork and hard work of others. That's right. The apostles on down to the least of us. This is Ephesians 2:19. Now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of God our power. That's right. And the Lord said he's not unrighteous to forget your labor of love that ye minister and do minister. This is Hebrews 6:10. For God our power is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, your suffering. Because who laid out that foundation to suffer, to labor for decades, no matter what the incredulity of others were, no matter what unbelievers thought? The apostles did. All right. They laid out that foundation. The elders did. All right. The bishops did. Okay. On down to the least of us. Now we have it here in 2025, the hopeful year of our deliverance, destruction and judgment of Esau, Edom, where you have the elect being sealed, waking up across the four corners of the whole entire earth. This gospel shall be preached to the ends of the earth, and then show the income, roughly paraphrasing. But how was that made so? From a body of men that the Lord has dealt with, not only in these times, but ancient times, like Jeremiah quoted, the prophets that have been before me, before thee of old. That's him paying homage, acknowledging, up until this point, I wouldn't have been here if the foundation wouldn't have been laid. So it says, for God our power is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have showed towards his name, and that ye have ministered to the saints, and do minister unto this day, man. All right. So the Lord is not going to forget our suffering. Our suffering is displayed in the Lord's men. Our suffering is displayed in this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that the Lord is guiding us with in these times, man, from the apostles on down to the least of us. So back in Ephesians 2:20, it says, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Yahushua Mashiach himself being the chief cornerstone, in whom all the building fitly framed together groweth unto an holy temple in the Lord, in whom ye also are builded together for an habitation of God through the Spirit. That's right, man. This is a body of men. Just picture a body. You got different parts of the body. That's likened unto a great millstone. All right. And the scriptures say different administrations, but the same Lord. So you got brothers with different talents, different gifts, but we all make up the body of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. We all have that significance and importance. But who do we give the glory to? Yahweh Shem Yahushua, the Heavenly Father, through his only begotten Son. Who do we give double honors to? The apostles, who rule well and are worthy of their double honors for the foundation that they've laid, like it said in verse 20, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Yahushua Mashiach himself being the chief cornerstone. That's right, man. The Lord isn't dealing with that lone wolf spirit. Well, I can do it on my own. I think I know something. You don't know anything, man. The scripture says if a man thinking he is something, he is nothing, man. All right? You're nothing without this foundation. You have nothing to stand on. Just like a house that's built upon a foundation. If that foundation is corroded, and it's going to say that, I'm going to go back to this. That foundation is corroded and weathered down. What does that house have left to stand on? Back in 1 Corinthians 3:11, for other foundation can no man lay that is laid, than that is laid, which is in Yahweh Shah Mashiach. Now, if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest. For the day shall declare it, and we're in that day where man's work shall be made manifest, man. Who you're truly working for, what foundation you're truly built upon, all right? What grounds are you walking on? The Lord is going to reveal that no matter how much you think you know or the Spirit is dealing with you, all right? You have to pay homage, okay? And you have to acknowledge the efforts of those that laid out the foundation for you to get this far. So it says, 1 Corinthians 3:13, again, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire. And the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. And if any man's work abide, which he had built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. Now read back down the NLT. It says, 1 Corinthians 3 and 9. I'll start at 9 in the NLT. It says, for we are both God's workers, and you are God's field, you are God's building. Because of God's grace to me, I have laid the foundation like an expert builder. And that's likened unto the apostles. The apostles laid that foundation like expert builders. And it says, now others are building on it, on down to the least of us, the prophets, teachers, evangelists, miracle workers, diversity of tongues, building in that same body, which the chief cornerstone is Yahweh Shah Mashiach. So it says, but whoever is building on this foundation must be very careful, for no one can lay any foundation other than the one we already have, Yahweh Shah Mashiach. Anyone who builds on that foundation may use a variety of materials, gold, silver, jewels, wood, hay, or straw. But on the judgment day, fire will reveal what kind of work each builder has done. The fire will show if a person's work has any value. Verse 14, if the work survives, that builder will receive a reward. And we know if we're working for Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, man, all right, that work will survive. And it has survived in past times up until these times, man. Well, we're going to get that great reward in this salvation, man. All right. So let's see if there's any more in that Google search. It says, how acknowledging foundational work promotes growth. It says, fosters a culture of appreciation. By giving credit to those who laid the foundation, you promote an environment of gratitude and respect. That's right, man. How is a camp going to thrive if you're not acknowledging those who came before you? The apostles, on down to the least of us, the elders of the camp, camp heads, okay, those men that have laid that foundation for you to even be in a conversation of knowing who you are, man. The Lord didn't just choose you, he chose the elect, all right? So it says fosters a culture of appreciation. It says this attitude reinforces to others that their efforts are valued, boosting morale and motivating them to excel. That's right, man. It says encourages learning from the past. Recognizing history allows you to learn from both the successes and failures of predecessors. This provides important context and perspective, which helps you make more informed decisions for the future. It says builds resilience and continuity. Knowing the struggles and triumphs of those who came before you builds a deeper sense of identity and resilience. This creates a powerful and tangible link to the past, reminding you that you are part of a larger story and building on a legacy. That's right, you're part of a larger story, man. All right, the story of the hopeful elect, not your own story. All right, we're not to be boastful or prideful on our own, man, or lean on our own understanding. We're part of a larger story, the story of the hopeful elect, man. Us all coming back to get that glory and fighting for it and being tried for it, for a testimony. It says promotes humility and perspective by acknowledging that you didn't achieve success in a vacuum. You see, you cultivate humility. It helps you realize that your contribution is part of a continuous story, shifting the focus from individual glory to a collective effort. It says models generous behavior. When you celebrate the accomplishment of others, you set an example for the next generation. So I just end off on that. But acknowledging the foundation that others built before you is a crucial part of growth. All right. Crucial part of humility, resilience. All right. Like it goes into, but Lord willing, this message was edifying. I'm going to give infinite honors and praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Harachak Wadash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who are worthy and rule well and are worthy of the double honors. Peace and blessing to you, Akim, pushing this truth across the four corners. Until next time, Shalom.